Hello everybody. Welcome to this week of Wednesday Night Dash presented by Stadium Scene TV. Tonight we have the Monster Mile 80 here at Dover Motor Speedway in Dover, Delaware. Let's take a look real quick at Dover Motor Speedway, also known as the Monster Mile. Dover opened in 1969. It is 1 mile long with 24 degrees of banking in the turns. Tonight's rules: there is 10-minute or 40-minute practice with a 2-lap quali, and the race is 85 laps with a competition yellow at lap 40. Now, after last week, let's take a look at the points standings. After 8 races, we have Colton Gardner sitting at 329. He pretty much has this season clinched up. There is a small possibility of Brian McKinney, but most likely Colton Gardner has this season clinched up. Then Brian McKinney has 264 points. Then Dylan Behrens is 242. DJ Fluck with 238 and John Miles with 227 are all under a tight bubble for that last podium spot in the championship. Then we have Mark Willett at 205, Eric Richardson at 199, Lane Snow also at 199, Ian Miller at 198, Jesse Fox at 195. That runs out your top 10. For everybody else, we have Fernando Takahashi with 169, Bill Mulfield with 117, Chris Fuge with 59, Tyler Vickery with 55, Andrew Hewitt with 30, Mark Vicars with 25, Justin Eves, Jax Milan, both at 0 because they have not made a start yet, except for tonight. Tonight, Jax Milan is making his debut to a Wednesday Night Dash. So it would be really fun to see what is going on there tonight. Real quick, let's give some love to our friends at the House of Hockey podcast. On this week's House of Hockey, Ray is once again joined by guest host Alma Laura as they deep dive into the latest NHL and PWHL news. Topics this week include the NHL trade deadline, Ray attending her first PWHL game in Boston, and a special collaboration between the Anaheim Ducks and Vans Shoes. Tune in 5 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, right here on Stadium Scene TV. Also, let's give a shout out to the Indy Racing World Series. Be sure to tune in to the Indy Racing World Series Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Stadium Scene TV. The next race is April 2nd from Auto Club Speedway, one of the 2 longer events. I don't have the schedule pulled up right now. And the postponed Road Atlanta race has been rescheduled for Tuesday, April 23rd, which was once a bye week. But now we'll get some road racing. So we have 10 drivers here tonight as everybody's going around making their qualifying laps. Let's see who is out on track right now. Fernando Takahashi out on track. Jax Milan making his debut out on track right now. Got that Pioneer. I think it's a paint scheme. It looks very nice. I like that color scheme. Eric Richardson also out on track at the moment. Looks like we're still waiting for some people to post their qualifying times. Right now, those 3 are the only ones that are on the racetrack. But we will see. Fernando Takahashi taking a fast lap. Now, what's interesting about the Monster Mile is even the straightaways are banked. So, excuse me. So you're gonna see some interesting, driving. As you can see, look at how banked the straightaways are as they slide into turn 3. Currently, Fernando, P7 out of the people that have qualified. We're still waiting for, we're still waiting for Brian McKinney, Eric Richardson, and John Miles to qualify. Although they might just take a mulligan and not qualify. We'll see. But Brian McKinney out on track. Right now, I have his first lap. He's 6. Shoots into turn 3. Let's see if he'll improve on his time. As he comes across the line. Like, that's where they will. Oh. All right, so we have Colton Gardner back on the pole with Chris Hughes running P2. We got Ian Miller sitting P3 and then Dylan Behrens in P4. Jax Milan making his season debut in P5 and Brian McKinney in P6. DJ Fleck comes in P7 and Fernando Takahashi position number 8. Eric Richardson and John Miles did not qualify, so they will run P9 and P10. Let's take you trackside. See what's going on down there. Now the cameras kind of stink when they're all... Still waiting for, it looks like, a handful of drivers. Brian McKinney, Eric Richardson, John Miles to grid up. Right now, only waiting for Richardson and John Miles. Only about 10 seconds. Are they going to miss the start of this race? Oh, there's Eric Richardson. Is John Miles going to... It doesn't look like John Miles is going to hit the grid in time. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm not sure if we have 2 laps or 1 lap here. Let's... Colton, it's Hunter in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. You can clinch it up here. You just got to stay clean. How you feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty all right. Car feels good tonight. Really cool having SMR, both of us on the front row tonight. That's pretty cool, and hopefully we can keep it straight and keep it like this.
Yeah, well, good luck out there, my friend, and have a good race.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Was trying to keep that short because I didn't know if they have 1 lap or 2 laps. I think it's only 1 lap, but it's a mile racetrack, so it might be 2 laps. Not really sure. Guess we'll know here in a second. Actually, it is just 1 lap. All right. Pace cars down and away under the control of Colton Gardner in that 40 machine. Green flag out here at Dover. Colton Gardner gets a good run. Chris Hughes holding up that outside line just a tad bit. That's going to open up the door for Ian Miller there, as they are almost 3 wide as they come out of turn 2. Still side by side, Ian Miller, Dylan Behrens leaning on each other, but able to keep it straight as they all get into the wall. The number 1, oh man, kind of cuts the nose off of Ian Miller in the 48 as he tries to go for the move on the 68. As they come down, they're 3 wide now behind. Fernando Takahashi in that 99. Brian McKinney, Ian Miller, and the newcomer, Jax Milan. Fernando Takahashi taking the high line. Might work, might not work. As they all run single file, but now Brian McKinney looking underneath of Ian Miller in the 48 as they all hit the wall again. It's just going to be the Ian Miller now dropping like a rock. Got into the wall one too many times. But is able to recover there in P7. It's under threat now from Eric Richardson in the number 13 machine. Looks like they all go single file now, so they're just learning the racetrack. So far, strong run out of the newcomer of Jax Milan. Really sitting P6, trying to put the pressure on Fernando Takahashi in that number 99 machine. As Brian McKinney is looking underneath of the 68. And it's going to get past him for that 3rd place spot. Now look at this. The number 1 of Dylan Behrens putting the pressure on our leader of Colton Gardner. And he's going to get to the inside. Side by side as they go down. And Dylan Behrens is your new leader here at Dover. A lot of action all over the racetrack as we go back. Jax Milan looking underneath. The 68 having a bit of an issue. Keeps getting into the wall. But is able to hold on tight. Race moving by really fast. Good recovery by Ian Miller in the 48 machine. Trying to take advantage of what's happening in front of him. As he gets into the wall once again. That 68 cannot seem to stay out of the wall. And is going to fall all the way back to the back of the back pretty much. But the pressure up front. Colton Gardner. Dylan Behrens in that number 1. And it settles down here between the final podium spot. Brian McKinney just kind of chilling. Fernando Takahashi chilling. And then it picks up with Ian Miller, Eric Richardson, Chris Hughes in that 68. And DJ Fluck rounding out the field. A lot of people hitting the wall back to back so far. You know, that's what's amazing about Dover. Is it's such a tight, narrow track that the speeds that you go, it seems kind of unfit. It drives like a short track. It's basically just like a slightly wider Bristol. It drives just like a slightly bigger Bristol, which is really fun, but it's also quite challenging for these drivers. Chris Hughes starting to put the pressure back on to Eric Richardson as Eric Richardson gets way loose. Oh, and almost saves it, but turns down to the inside wall to not wreck the 68 of Chris Hughes. Good move by Eric, but that's going to put him way off the pace now. Things are heating up for the lead. Colton Gardner not letting the number 1 get away. Still within about 0.2 of a second. The pressure is back on. Colton Gardner needing every point he can get so he can ride next week scot-free. Which, by the way, let's bring up the schedule real quick. Next week, we'll have our finale at Kansas Motor Speedway. It'll be under the lights. That'll be definitely one you don't want to miss. These next-gen cars are incredibly fun at Kansas. So make sure you turn in next week. Same time, same place. Back to the action on track. The battle for the lead still raging on. Take a ride inside with Colton Gardner. As you all can just see the immense baking of this monster mile. A big dive from Colton Gardner to the inside is going to take the lead back. Let's see if the number 1 has anything for him. Doesn't look like it. It looks like the number 1 may have cooked his tires just a bit too hard, trying to hold the lead. And Colton Gardner's going to get the lead back. Looking back for position 3 and 4, Brian McKinney, Fernando Takahashi. Takahashi looking underneath of the 8. Is going to get clear. Move Fernando Takahashi up to that 3rd spot. Fernando Takahashi, biggest mover of the race so far, up 5 from where he started. And now Fernando Takahashi looking really fast. It's going to start putting the pressure on the number 1 of Dylan Behrens. And it's going to get to the inside now. Fernando Takahashi, bad fast underneath of the number 1 and is going to get clear. At time by Fernando Takahashi, the fastest car on track as of right now. Currently about a 10th quicker than Colton Gardner. And now the question is, did Fernando just save his tires super aggressively and is now putting in the work? We got a heck of a battle happening between the 8, 9, and 48. The 9 looking underneath of the 8. That's going to open up the door for Ian Miller in the 48. Isn't going to be able to get there yet. But from 4th to 7th, everybody under a bubble as of right now. It's interesting to see the ebb and flow of who's fast and then who kind of falls off a little bit. because we're seeing the 68 was a little slow in the beginning, but is picking up the speed now as we get to the second half of this first stage. Ian Miller looking underneath of the 8 of Brian McKinney is going to get clear, and that opens up the door for Chris Hughes. It's crazy how this thing can change. Brian McKinney was just setting position 3, and over the course of a couple of laps has fallen all the way back to 7th place. And now here, Jax Milan making a huge move for position 3 underneath of the number 1. Jax Milan in his debut race definitely showing that he belongs in this league. And it's going to now start to drive away from that number 1. And now we can kind of see the number 1 is starting to fall off as the 48 of Ian Miller is going to have the run and look to his inside. The number 1 is going to cover nicely, but Ian Miller is just going to have the more speed, and they both kind of make a interesting move. Ian Miller is going to be to the outside of the number 1. They both hit the wall, and Ian Miller is going to get by cleanly. And now look at this, the number 68 looking up underneath of the 1, and it's going to get by him smoothly as well. Oh, they're going to chase up the track. A bit of a dirty move out of the number 68. I'm going to be honest, I don't think he was exactly clear of the 1 yet as he chased up the racetrack and put the number 1 into the wall. But that number 1 is driving not so good anymore, as the number 8 now is going to try to get by him as well. Fernando Takahashi still putting in some killer lap times as we're seeing these two battle side by side, almost getting into each other, but are able to keep it straight for right now. Still fighting side by side. They get their differences settled out. But the story is Fernando Takahashi still setting down crazy laps, almost a full 10th faster than Colton Gardner that time by. Take a look at bar cam here. This is the gap for the lead. Who are on these two are on an island, by the way. 6 seconds over P3, Jax Milan, Ian Miller, and Fernando Takahashi. And Ian Miller actually looking to make a move underneath of the number 9. He has the faster car. Jax Milan going to go way up near the wall. It's going to open up the door for the 48 of Ian Miller. They're going to be side by side as they go down the backstretch. And look who's there in the picture. The number 68 of Chris Hughes. Chris Hughes looking to follow Ian Miller through. And it's going to be there on the inside. And is looking to get clear of him as they go into turn 3. But we are only a couple laps away from our stage break. This first stage has gone by so quickly. But look at the gap to the lead here. Only about a half a second. As they go to about 2 laps until the stage break. Fernando Takahashi trying to take this stage win away from Colton Gardner. That time by Fernando Takahashi was 0.2 quicker than your leader Colton Gardner. As it looks like they're getting ready to cross the line for lap 40, and that should bring out our stage 1 yellow. And we have learned a lot. And look at this, John Miles out on the racetrack is 39 laps down, but good on John Miles to come out here in the Dr. Squatch number 54. Honestly, really nice, beautiful paint scheme. He's going to jump into the second stage. And good for him to at least get out here and turn a couple laps. Oh, Colton Gardner got a little sketchy as the rest of the field goes ahead and catches up. You can see all the drivers catching up, and a couple of them really smoking their tires as they get into here. So as they come down, Colton Gardner leads them all down pit road. Takahashi, Miller, Chris Fuge, Jax Milan, Brian McKinney, Eric Richardson, and Dylan Aaron's. It's going to be interesting to see. I think it's going to be interesting to watch Eric Richardson. He was making kind of a move. Let's see. Everybody's revving their engines. Fernando Takahashi, Colton Gardner. There comes Eric Richardson. Let's see what he can do. Oh, it's a bit of a mess. But Eric Richardson able to get a spot on Brian McKinney. And the rest pile out as normal. So we should be getting the 1 to go here. Let's take a look at our pace car. The lights are still on. Okay. That looks a little weird. Because we're going to see the 54 get a wave around. Fernando Takahashi up 6 positions from where he started. So biggest mover of the race. They should be getting the 1 to go this time by now. As we watch the pace car. The lights are off. That means 1 to go. As we see, John Miles is going to take his wave around. Takahashi, Gardner, Miller, and Fuge, your top 4 as they go through turn number 2. Down the backstretch so we can kick off this second half. DJ Fluck back on the lead lap now after he took his wave around. So all drivers except for John Miles, but he got a pretty late start back on the lead lap. Here we go, under the control of Colton Gardner. Going back. Waiting. Green flag is back out here at Dover. Takahashi and Gardner get away scot-free, but the battle rages on from third on back. As we see the number 68 dropping like a rock. He definitely did not get the start he needed. All the way back to 6th place now. Is under threat for 7th place. As they all get into the wall up ahead. Eric Richardson underneath of that number 68. These three drivers battling super hard. 68 hard into the wall. Big lick from that 68. That's going to allow the number 8 car to get underneath of him. Big damage to the 68. Let's see if we can actually a little bit of damage. Looks like the right front. It's pushed in just a little bit. The arrow's not a huge deal here, but it definitely matters. Eric Richardson way low on the racetrack. Trying to make a move on Jax Milan. Let's take a look at your top 3. Dylan Barron's underneath of Fernando Takahashi. Now, will Dylan learn from his mistake of pushing his tires too hard? We've got a bit of a 4-car breakaway here with the 40, the 1, the 48, or the 99 and the 48. Dylan Barron's looks bad fast right out of the gate. Is going to look to threaten for the lead once again. But it seems to be a tire saving game here at Dover once again. Seems to be kind of the storyline for this whole season is just tire saving. That's what it was at Texas last week. Who could save their tires best, and kind of a similar story here tonight. Number 1 for the lead, and is going to take it over pretty easily. It didn't look like Colton Gardner was trying to fight him too hard for it. Maybe Colton Gardner knows that the number 1 burns his stuff up. So maybe he's just trying to study and listen. But now Fernando Takahashi also just trying to save his tires. You know, you can already tell these top 4 are not being nearly as aggressive as they were in the beginning. But the complete opposite can be said for this second pack that's forming. With the 13, the 8, the 68, and the 9. Eric Richardson able to get by all of them and is going to move himself up to position at number 5. Just the highest he has sat all day. 68 looking to take over the spot from Brian McKinney once again. Taking a look back up front, Fernando Takahashi is starting to put the pressure on Colton Gardner by just a bit. Only about 0.2 of a second separates them, and that's allowing the number 1 of Dylan Behrens to just kind of get ahead. Almost now a second separates first and second. Fernando looking very fast. But isn't looking to make a move on Colton Gardner just yet. Isn't really pushing. He's just kind of staying in his mirror, making sure that Colton remembers that he is there, but he is not trying to actively make a pass, looks like. These four are having one heck of a race, though, as Brian McKinney gets a boost of speed and is now looking underneath of Eric Richardson. And Eric Richardson's going to go very wide. They're going to fall back in line. It's interesting to see the different lines that these drivers are taking as well. You see the number 9 was trying to enter in the corner high and then kind of diamond off and then exit low. I want to take a break away from this battle because it keeps getting spicy, but the battle for the lead is also starting to get spicy once again. Back up to the lead. That 1 second gap has fallen off pretty quickly, and they're now only within about 0.2. 3 cars. Ooh, as Fernando Takahashi almost gets into the back of Colton Gardner, but is able to keep it alive. Now let's take a look behind the number 1. You can just see the different lines that these drivers are taking. It's actually right inside with the 99 of Fernando Takahashi. Oh, as the number 1 washes up very tight. And Fernando Takahashi looking to the outside. He's going to have a good run here as he exits the corner. Gets into the wall just a bit, but that doesn't hurt his speed that much. 20 laps to go here at the Monster Mile. You can hear just how often Fernando has to lift off of the gas. You can tell he wants to go way faster. Now to the outside of the thing. Oh, and the big crash gets the 99, the 1 involved. The number 1 car destroyed. The 99 car destroyed. That almost took out Colton Gardner too. That was almost a 1, 2, 3 accident. The whole front end ripped off of Fernando Takahashi's machine. His front toe link totally broken. What? Let's take a look real quick and see what happened there. The number 1 and the number 99 on pit road now. Let's go back and all right, so you see here, let's go back just a bit. So Fernando Takahashi enters the corner wide, gets a super good run out of the corner, and is on the outside of the number one. The number one washes up either to block or he just got tight. It's kind of hard to see right now if he was if he just got tight or if he did indeed put the block on. Oops. There you go. Let's watch this from Colton Gardner's eyes. So you can see Fernando Takahashi is to the outside. Now this will paint a good picture to see. Actually, can't really see that well. Take a look at that from Fernando Takahashi's eyes. Let's rewind once again. Then we'll get back to the live. All right, so you see Fernando Takahashi has got a really strong run. And he is there, and it looks like Dylan Berens gets tight and checks up. And it's all she wrote from there. Gonna have to do a lot of zooming. As we get back. But the way they run right now, Colton Gardner, Ian Miller, Brian McKinney, Jax Milan, Eric Richardson, Chris Fuge, DJ Fluck. Some Dylan Berens and Fernando Takahashi were heavy hitters this race. Fernando Takahashi may have had the car to beat. He was very fast. But now with only 12 laps to go, Colton Gardner doesn't really have anything to worry about. He's got Ian Miller behind him. That time by, Ian Miller was just 100th slower, so he's just a tad bit slower than he needs to be. But Colton Gardner almost saw his race go up in smoke. He was mere inches from getting involved in that accident. Now 10 laps to go. There's still some battling happening between Chris Fuge in the 68 and Eric Richardson in the 13. Only 9 laps to go. These three drivers, the 9, the 13, and the 68, have been running together the whole race pretty much. And now it is go time. We don't want to miss a thing. The number 1 on fresh tires is going to be way faster than the rest of these drivers. Is actually going to shoot the middle. Eric Richardson's going to get by them. Move Eric Richardson up into that 4th place position. But Jax Milan fighting hard on the inside. Oh, and is going to get a tap from Chris Fuge in the 68, and that's going to send him up into the wall. That was like a bump and run gone wrong there. Chris Fuge gets into the back corner panel of the number 9 and is going to put him up into the wall. A little bit of a bump and run, gone too far. As I go again, Brian McKinney now looking for that 2nd position spot over Ian Miller. They're only about a second gap separates them. Running about identical lap times that last time by. But Eric Richardson, Chris Fuge, only 5 laps to go. Can Chris Fuge get one more spot on Eric Richardson? And can Eric Richardson hold him off for that 4th place spot. We're going to take a peek back up at Colton Gardner. Only 3 laps to go. These points shake up everything. From second on back, I'm pretty sure this race right here will clinch up the championship for Colton Gardner. As he comes around turn 4 to take the white flag presented by Stadium Scene TV. Colton Gardner having a perfect season so far this year. Has won them all except for 2 as he goes into turn 3 and comes out of turn 4. Colton Gardner is your winner here at Dover. And Ian Miller comes home a respectable P2. And Brian McKinney brings it home in P3. Eric Richardson, Chris Fuge, P4 and P5. DJ Fluck brings it home P6. Dylan Barons, P7. Fernando Takahashi, P8. Jax Milan, P9. And John Miles, P10. What a race. That's how the Monster Mile delivers once again. Had a couple of incidents there. Usually there's not too many accidents in this league. But had a couple incidents there. Bring in a couple drivers. Let's bring in Ian Miller. All right, kicking off post-race interviews tonight. We have Eric Richardson brings it home, position 4. Eric, tell me about your night.
Wow, tonight was like a yo-yo. I'd move up, then slide back, move up, slide back. I was just trying to hang in there.
Yeah, that was kind of the theme all night. We saw constant flip-flop of the leaderboard. You'd see people start off very, very fast and fall back, and then kind of the opposite. You'd have people in the back getting runs when they needed to and moving themselves up the leaderboard. But a good 4th place finish tonight. Heck of a job.
Oh, thank you.
All right, moving on, we have Ian Miller and the number 48. Ian, you had a couple doozies get into the wall a couple times, but ultimately brought it home P2. Tell me about your night. Ian, did we gotcha?
Oh, yep, my microphone's off. That was on me. Yeah, just got a little bit intimidated in traffic there. Got bullied, and after that, I just focused on tire management and seemed to pay off.
Yeah, definitely. There was a bit of an incident with the leaders that took out the number 1 and the number 99. Looked like you were sitting pretty comfortably in 4th position, but with just a little bit of luck, you were able to bring it home.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I could have challenged a little bit harder for the lead there. I think because I sort of chickened out and backed off a little bit more than was necessary, but I think P2 is good enough for government work, as the kids say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, good job, and I'll talk to you later.
Yep, see ya. Bye.
All right, and your winner tonight, Colton Gardner, almost had his race ended by mere inches. Colton, tell me about your night.
It was very. I was optimistic all night because we switched the weather model over this week to realistic and to what this track will probably be ran in later on this year. And all practice long, it was nothing but cloud cover. And the car had so much grip, and it was really quick. And then in the race, the sun decided to come out and made the thing really kind of loose. It just the handling switched completely. Um, it was a lot of fun racing Dylan and Fernando. Um, I I hate it ended how it did. Um, because that was so much fun. I didn't know if Fernando was going to go high, if he's going to try and cut me low. I didn't know if Dylan was going to block me or he's going to go up high and block. And it was a really good battle until coming off a four there. I don't know how I got by both of them. I'm just extremely shocked about that.
Yeah, looking back on that incident, Fernando might have had the car to beat tonight. He was very, very quick. He was tracking when you had in the first half, you had it was like a 2 or 3 second lead, and he was able to track that down all the way to about maybe a couple tenths there before the stage break. But yeah, on that incident, Fernando threw it in high, almost got clear of you, and then Dylan looked like he got tight and then had to lift off to not hit the wall, but Fernando was there and they just got into each other. And like you missed the incident by a couple inches. Like I'm surprised Netco didn't get you there. It was very, very close. Yeah, ultimately that leaves you sitting in the victory lane right now, and I'm pretty sure that also clinches you up for the championship this year or this season. I don't have a points total right now, but I'm pretty sure you are clinched for the championship. So congratulations on the championship as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really cool to be able to clinch it up again this week or this year. Well, this season. I don't know if we're supposed to do an interview on that right now or if we're going to wait till Kansas. So.
Well, I was just throwing it out there that I think you got it tonight. Well, obviously we'll know for sure next week once all the points come out, and yeah. Well, that's all I have for you tonight. I know as always you have people to thank, so.
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank French Broadfire and Rescue, Jiffy Lube, Castle Garen Creations, Dubby, Carolina Legion, Good Humor and Clean Inspiration, Moza, everybody that helps out with this, and it's really cool to be able to bring sponsorship to my own car doing this, even though it is virtual, and I really appreciate everybody's support with that. And yeah, we'll try repping the top next week at Kansas.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be very, very fun. Right, it was another really fun night here tonight at Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile. Remember, come in next week at Kansas Motor Speedway for the season finale. It's going to be fun. It's going to be under the lights. Kansas is always really fun. Well, that's all I have for you guys. My name is Hunter Hughes. I was calling tonight. And I'll see you all later. Bye.